Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today we're going to talk about Heroes for Hire and what we're going to do with this team after the Infinity Watch enters the game. So, if you watch my video from yesterday, you saw that the Infinity Watch are going to be the new arena meta. They're going to just decimate everybody in Alliance War. They're going to counter Heroes for Hire. I showed the video of them beating up on Heroes for Hire. And so a lot of people have been reaching out to me and saying, what the hell? I just spent all these resources and gear on Heroes for Hire, and now they're already power crept. They're already countered. What's up with that? And here's what I'll say: they're going to be kind of countered. And here's what I mean by that: Heroes for Hire are an absurdly strong team. Right now, you need to take a whole group of meta characters to counter them. People are using characters, whether it's Black Bolt, Kestrel. There's been people using Doom against them. There's people using Emma. Like all these characters, the top characters, sort of throwing them together, trying to beat Heroes for Hire to find a team that can one shot. And right now they're kind of ruling the roost, and they're this one above all kind of team. Well, they will now have a match for them, right, in Infinity Watch. And what I explained in that video was essentially that it's not that Infinity Watch has some, cheap tactic that makes Heroes for Hire worthless. In other words, you could imagine a team, right? The real power of Heroes for Hire comes from their incredible sustain, and that comes from this charged mechanic, right? If the full team is there, they get the 2 charges. If they go below 50% health, they clear all negative effects, heal up, yada yada. Well, that incredible sustain would be gone if there was a character who, when they zoned in, just did an AoE charge removal that could not be resisted, right? Unavoidable, can't be resisted. Or something like that. Or you could imagine that character prevented anyone from reviving or something like that. You could imagine a cheap mechanic that would completely nullify this team. That's not what Infinity Watch is. What Infinity Watch is a team that is so absurdly powerful in all game modes, in arena, in raids, in blitz. They're so absurdly powerful that they can just overwhelm the Heroes for Hire with just sheer damage output. It's not that they prevent him from reviving, not that they prevent him from healing, although they do throw out heal block. It's just that they are so freaking powerful that they can out sustain and out damage the Heroes for Hire. Now, there are some things built into their kits that deliberately take on and tackle Heroes for Hire. For example, Gamora on her first turn clears death proof from all, the empowered Gamora will clear death proof from all enemies. That is obviously going to screw over Heroes for Hire. She puts death proof instead on the Infinity Watch, who get drained. But and there are also obviously the heal blocks thrown out by Gamora and by Nebula are really important. But it's more just the overall power of the team that's going to enable the counter here. The fact that they get immunity on spawn, evade on spawn, the fact that they get all that drain and sustainability and revives and everything else. That is really what's going to make Infinity Watch overpower this team. And so I wouldn't overreact to this news if you're somebody who invested in Heroes for Hire. I mean, in other words, you don't cry too hard. What I think that this team is going to be like is kind of how Marauders were early on. If you remember, Marauders were a great team, but from the very beginning, they could be beaten by Black Order. It wasn't like if you had your Marauders on defense, they would defeat a similar sized Black Order that would attack them unless you just didn't know what you were doing. Okay, you didn't know how to position the team and what moves to do in what order. You could pretty much always beat Marauders of the Black Order on even a decent-sized punch-up. But Marauders were still a very strong defense team for a long time. Because at the very least, they were going to eat the Black Order from the other side. And so what the meta is going to look like now is, you're going to look on the defense side. How many Heroes for Hire does your alliance have? How big are those? Okay, then what is going to happen then on the other side? How many Infinity Watch do they have built up? How many of those people have unlocked Adam Warlock? And if there's an imbalance there, if there's too many heroes for hire, then there are Infinity Watch on the other team. Then the other alliance is going to have to find ways, scrape together a super team to counter heroes for hire, right? Similarly, on the other side, if you've got a team if your alliance has lots of Infinity Watch, you may end up throwing some on defense. That could confound the other side. Or you could use them against some other teams, right? Infinity Watch should beat everything. So, I really think we're just seeing the age of a new super team. At least that's what the devs intend. That's what the kits look like on paper. I have not tested the team out. I don't know for sure how the team's going to be. But based upon what I see, it looks like a team that beats everything. It's designed to beat everything. And so, given that, I think, back in the day, right, 6 months ago in war, we'd say, oh, let's just BO that team, right? In other words, let's just use our Blackwater and, take out this team that's so hard that nothing else can beat it. Well, we're going to get to that point now with Infinity Watch. I'll just use my IW on that team. I'll use the Infinity Watch on the team. That's like your nuclear bomb that beats everything. So we're just back to that height. Now, a lot of people are asking me, is this bad for the game? Well, I will just say this. I don't think Heroes for Hire having a soft counter is bad for the game. I personally think that this war defense stuff is a trap that Scopely does. I tried to warn you guys many times. Only build this team if you are super endgame. You completed DD 4 months ago. You're in an alliance that's super into alliance war, that sort of thing. I'm the kind of person who should be building this team. I completed DD4 6 months ago. I'm in a Diamond Alliance and I'm a war captain and all that. So sure, I should be into this team, but they always do this. They introduce the problem, Heroes for Hire, then they sell you that, then they sell you the solution in 3 to 6 months. It's always how it goes. They sell you a soft solution, then a hard solution. So we're going to get the soft counter now in another so Heroes for Hire is going to have a couple months in the sun without the soft counter. Now the soft counter Infinity Watch will be in the game in a month or month and a half, whenever Adam Warlock's event is, and then you'll get another 2-3 months before they'll introduce a hard counter. Now Shadowland is hard countered, right? Marauders is hard countered by Shadowland and X Factor and stuff where they just obliterate the team with massive punch-ups. So, that will eventually happen to Heroes for Hire. Is this good for the game? Is this kind of power creep good for the game? I don't think so. I think this game would be much better if the power creep was much more gradual. It really seems to be reaching absurd heights. I don't know why that is, but my theory is that when the devs made Black Order, they really wanted to make a full meta team that would dominate an arena, and they made it so much better than every other team that now to power creep Black Order, they've had to make every new character, new team that is intended to power creep Black Order absurdly powerful, and so much so that the older teams just pale in comparison. If that's the case, we're going to have, you better buckle up. There's going to be a lot more power creep in the months to come. But I will say this, this is a team to be hyped about, Infinity Watch. It's obviously very difficult to obtain. Adam Warlock is a legendary that requires a legendary, and they have those ISO requirements and everything else. No doubt about it, Scopely's trying to make a lot of money. That's basically what they do. But if you're going to go all in on a team, this seems like the team to do it. I'm much more enthusiastic about people investing in this team than I was about Heroes for Hire, which, as I said, just use your spare gear on Heroes for Hire unless you have tons of gear sitting around like I did. All right, guys. I do think it's not. Don't cry. Don't cry in your beer. Things are going to be fine. But look. The harder thing is going to be, and the real thing to focus on is making sure you're still able to complete Doom raids. I would you're going to have to balance whether you focus on that versus focusing on Infinity Watch. That's something that you can only do for yourself based on what your roster is and what your resources are. in terms of balancing those competing goals. That's what I would suggest doing. And Heroes for Hire are basically a luxury that only a certain select group of players can afford. All right, guys, if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, check out the Discord that's linked below. Lots of great conversations there. Our Twitch stream is also linked below. Great conversations every weeknight there.